Attention all freaks. We are now boarding for the flight to Planet E. 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 Planet E.
What's going on, everybody? We are finally here. We got a very special guest tonight by the name of DJ43, aka Mark Bell, joining us for between two turntables and a microphone tonight. What's up, dude? Thank you very much for doing this. Absolutely. And it's definitely we got some cool stuff to talk about. But first thing, I just want to do a sound check. So somebody in the chat, let me know that the sound's working good. I've had just like we start talking and it's literally like 5 or 10 minutes of talking and then like, oh, we can't hear anything. So you guys let me know if you can hear the sound good, and then we will get started on this.
You're assuming someone's listening.
Yeah. No, I'm assuming. Yeah. If anybody's out there, if there's anybody out there,
is there anybody?
Give us a shout. So, all right, we good? All right. Be right.
It takes a second to get on my phone.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a delay. So, all right. So, what's up, everybody in the chat? I'm gonna try to get to everybody. What's up, Scott? What's up, Darren? What is up, Kevin? What's up, Tom? What's up, B-Rad? And anybody else that's in there? I can't see everybody's names for some reason. I don't really know what's up with that. But the other thing is, if you're listening, do not start a watch party. Watch parties make it so that I can't see what you guys are talking about in the chat. You kind of have your own little chat going on right there, and it stops us from being able to interact. So if you are listening, go ahead and join the main video that's on the Mixtays page and in the event, and listen to us that way. So we've got a couple of announcements real quick, and then we're going to get right into it. So just so everybody knows, we're supposed to have Keith McKenzie this month, and we have some logistical issues with the stream, so we are working on bringing that back. So stay tuned for that. It's definitely still happening. We just had some problems that we got to work through, but definitely still happening. And then we're also supposed to have Rob E. this weekend on Saturday, but unfortunately, and he put this out on Facebook, it's not, so I don't think this is confidential information, but he had some medical issues that happened to him last week, and unfortunately, he's in the hospital. So give him some love, send him some love. Check him out on his Facebook page. He put a post up about it. So that is that's on hold for right now, and we will see what happens in the future. But hopefully he gets well. It didn't sound. It sounds like he's going to be okay, but it sounded very serious. Whatever had happened. And then another thing I wanted to say is that actually, Mr. Bell, today you're actually our last stream that we're doing for this month and all of September. So what we're doing is we're shutting down the stream for all of September, and we're going to do some upgrades. We got a bunch of stuff, so this will be our final stream that we do until October. We might do some test streams between now and then, but for the most part, we are closing down shop for a little bit so we can do some much needed upgrades to our graphics, to our setup, to everything that we got going on, to the podcast, everything like that. So you guys look out for us in October. And then one other thing I wanted to give a shout out to was, man, that hurricane that's going on in Louisiana.
Oh, man.
Holy shit, man. I'm in Fort Pierce, dude, and we've been hit by multiple hurricanes. One year, we were hit by 2 hurricanes within a couple of weeks. In like 2004, 2005, we didn't have power for like 2 weeks. And
I remember that.
It was crazy, dude. It was crazy. So I am acutely aware of the hurricane situation, and I feel for those people in Louisiana because that is going to be hell. And hopefully those people are getting out of there because it's going to be crazy. So, and that's pretty much it for the announcements from what I got right now. All right, so let's get into it. So what's up, dude? Thanks for doing this, man. Appreciate it.
I mean, I feel honored that if I'm the last one for a while or permanently, I feel honored.
Yep. You're definitely the last
fitting me
one
in.
for a little while. We're definitely coming back. No, we're coming back because I didn't put all the work into this fucking stream to shut it down after a year. This is like a part-time job for me, dude. It's crazy how much time goes
Labor
into
of
this.
love.
Yeah, it is, dude. That's what it is, man. It's just being in the scene, dude. Labor
I
of
know
love.
exactly how that goes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, you've definitely been doing it longer than me and putting out music and stuff like that. So what's up, man? So where are you now? I know you're not in Florida anymore.
In the glorious, thriving with rain metropolis of Athens, Georgia.
Okay.
About an hour outside of Atlanta, home of the University of Georgia, but I was born and raised here, and I actually just got back from dinner at my mom's house, and so I'm full of fried chicken, rice, and some. Let's see, we had mac and cheese, some. Oh goodness, what else? Oh, and homemade ice cream.
Nice.
So
some good old southern,
it's great.
southern food. I remember when I was a kid, so my grandparents had a place in Tennessee, and so we would always have to drive through Georgia. And I just remember gas being like 99 cents there. That was like and that was that was years ago, obviously, but I just I couldn't imagine why gas was so much cheaper there than it is everywhere else.
Yeah, that was one thing I had to get used to when I moved to Florida the first time. It was always about a 20 to 25 cent difference, and it was always fill up in Valdosta before I hit the state line, and it's I don't know if it's honestly the cheapest I ever bought gas was I played down in Statesboro where the Georgia Southern is, and I remember I got gas for 69 cents. And I had a red Honda Civic then, and I think it was like $6-7 to fill up. That's amazing. No camera phones or anything back then. Otherwise, I'd have been all over, posting, or just taking pictures. But it was crazy.
Yeah, Georgia's beautiful, man. It's if I was gonna live in another state, and I would live in Georgia. It's really pretty up there.
It is. There's a lot of scenery up here. There's you've got the mountains, you've got the coast, you've got the swampland out of Okefenokee, but there's parts of Georgia you definitely get all 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And then once you get down the Savannah area, you got some pretty mild winters, but I've seen snow in South Georgia.
Yeah, my cousin lives in Savannah, and I've been there, stayed there for a couple of days, and it was nice. I mean, it's so old. So the history.
There's old, and then there's Savannah.
Yeah, right. Right. And you know what Savannah reminded me of? An Interview with the Vampire. When they're walking around New Orleans and stuff like that, and it's all old like that. And then one time we were there, and the fog rolled in off the Savannah River into downtown. So you could literally not see anything fit 20 feet in front of you. And it was so just like that Interview in the Vampire scenery. It was cool.
They shoot a lot of movies down there.
Yeah.
And they did. I'm sure they'll get back to it. But Georgia's become a big hotspot for movies. But Savannah, they did a Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. That was one of the big ones that was attached with Savannah, and it's just a beautiful town.
Yeah,
it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, so much history.
Yep.
All right, man. So let's get into it, dude. So DJ 43, man. So let's talk about your origin story as far as that goes. So I guess we can start, man, with what's your musical background? Did you play an instrument, read music, things like that? How'd you get into music?
I started 5th grade. I was at Timothy Road Elementary, and they started a 5th grade orchestra program. And at that point in Clark County, basically you could start in 6th grade in middle school and do band from 6th grade on, but they started a 5th grade orchestra program. And I was knee-high to a gnat's ass, and I decided I was going to take on the double bass. And so I started learning double bass then, and then when I got into 6th grade, my brother played baritone, which is same as basically the same as a trombone. It's got valves and whatever else instead of the slide. But so I was in band from 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, and then 10th grade. I told you about my bicycle career and stuff or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's when things started getting serious and whatever else, so I couldn't really do band. I just had other interests that I was doing then. But yeah, that was pretty much it. I'm by no means musically gifted. My brother got all the music talent in the family. He's a genius. He's a musical genius.
Was he
And my
ever a
sister got
DJ or a
brains,
producer?
oh no.
Okay.
He grew up playing keyboard, but he could pick up any instrument and have it down in a half hour. He's just got that musical ear.
Right.
We were all raised. My mother was a preacher's daughter. We were raised in the church. We grew up singing. Always been around music. Actually, we were the Von Bells instead of the Von Traps in the Sound of Music thing. But yeah, I had put on lederhosen also. But anyways, he's a brilliant musician, and unfortunately, we messed around on a little project way back when, but I hate to say it, but we never really did anything after that, and I hate it because he has so much musical talent.
Right.
I mean, he just and the folks that know him know that he's. Yeah. So,
but you can read music though. You know, you played an instrument. You can read music.
Somewhat. Being in band that long, you have no choice except to learn to read and time signatures and half notes, quarter notes, whole notes,
right.
eighth notes, 16th notes, bass, treble, blah 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 blah. But now as it goes, it's I couldn't tell you anything about what I did back then.
Okay.
Now it's basically, feel around. Oh, that sounds good. Cool.
Right. Gotcha.
Not hunt and peck, but hunt and peck.
Right. So how did you stumble into the electronic music scene?
Basically, I kind of stumbled into DJing by volunteering at a teen center, and the DJ didn't show up one night. That's the old classic story, but it is the truth. The DJ didn't show up, so the guy showed me. They had two 1200s and a mixer, and basically it was play a song, start, stop, play a song, start, stop. And then I got bit by the bug and made the famous. I bought some records, and then it just never stopped.
Yeah. The illness,
and,
the sickness.
Started acquiring equipment. I taught myself to mix. I actually have my first mixer over there in the cabinet. It's the first one I ever actually bought, not borrowed. It's a Newmark 4-channel something. But I found it in my sister's basement after my nephew had her for whatever reasons. But I ended up starting playing in nightclubs when I was 18, so that would have been 1990. But I was exposed to electronic music, obviously the early days, the early electro stuff.
Right.
Hearing it at the skating rink and whatever. But then in about 92, 93, a club opened up in Athens called Bone Shakers. And I put in a mixtape I was a DJ, I was just looking for a job. And I ended up finding out it was a gay club. But, that didn't matter to me. I just wanted to play some music. But that's when I really started getting record pools and started, looking at charts and whatever else and going to the store and saying, hey, check this out, check that out, check this out, check that out. And, obviously the early Florida Breaks type songs were, early Icy. I can't even remember what some of the early other European, some of the imports were. But, my first Icy record I ever bought was Beats a Rockin', which was, I think, Zone 02. That was the second record.
Wow.
But at that point, I was still working in nightclubs, but you're having to play a mix of top 40 dance and house music, but not like Chicago house, because it's Chicago house would have driven out the door, but it's basically top 40, because I was also working in another club too that was, just top 40, but you're playing 5 hours a night, and every once in a while you sneak in a breakbeat record. And that was what kind of helped, is that the breakbeat records that had Athens, Georgia is close enough to Miami where they still love some bass music and some booty music.
Right.
So it was interesting to find a way to blend in stuff here and there just to get your itch scratched for a night. And then when, like I told you, when I met Darcy, we just kind of just started blossomed from a friendship into, the rest was history. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it. And I met this guy, Clay Ivy, that had applied for a job at a club. And Clay was great. He was such a good guy, great DJ, but he was a promoter from hell. He was beating the streets. And this is the days you did flyers. There was no internet,
right.
There's no Facebook, no social media. But Clay started an underground night at Bone Shakers. And he played and brought in DJs, and I play there too some, but that was like a Tuesday night at Bone Shakers, and it was just the place to be. And he it just blossomed from there. And, I mentioned to you that that's how we ended up meeting some of the Florida guys. It got so big, we'd bring in DJs from Atlanta, and then eventually from Florida and whatever. But that's how I kind of ended up where I'm at.
How many boxes of records are you bringing in for a 5-hour set?
Well, the good thing is that the club had back then the DJ booths. Your resident DJs, there weren't. I was working probably 3 nights a week, 3 or 4 nights a week, so a lot of my records stayed there.
Okay.
And the booths were built a lot bigger to house those, and also, to let other DJs bring in their crates or their boxes, their record boxes, and set them on top or whatever.
Okay.
So, but yeah, there was, it was a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. I can't imagine having to bring in that many records for that long of a set.
Yeah, but that wasn't a set. That was like a Wednesday.
Right. Right. Gotcha. So how did you get your DJ name? Were you DJ 43 back then, or you were going under some other moniker?
Well, that's where, once we started when Clay was doing the underground nights, we started this. Clay and a guy named Neil McDonald and Darcy, or was it Darcy and Neil? They started a thing called, Darcy and Neil started Fungus back in the 90s. And it was just an idea we were going to take underground music and go play it at other bars, not in nightclubs. We'd go to these bars that are just bars. We'd bring in sound, we'd bring in track spots, and we just decked the bar out as a dance club for one night.
Okay.
And that was just the little mushroom logo. That was the logo that Darcy created. And so after a while, I'm playing those things, but then I'm also playing, quote, Mark Bell. If it's in the paper or the local magazine, it's, well, Mark Bell's playing at so-and-so bar, but well, what's he going to be playing? But if it's there had to be a delineation. If I'm playing here and doing this, it's under the thing 43. It's going to be underground music. If it's a Mark Bell thing, I'm doing the top 40 house, popular music stuff. So
right.
It had to be a kind of, you're playing a certain style with a certain name.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's where 43, and 43 is an old BMX tale about the never-ending quest for 43, and it shows up everywhere, the coincidental number, blah, 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 blah. It's one of those mysteries of life. But I was just, it doesn't mean anything. It was just something that's not Mark Bell. It might as well could have been DJ Shoelace.
Right.
Or DJ Numbnuts,
Is the 43 number a thing in BMXing? That's what it comes
BMX,
from? Or that was just you? It was kind of a number for you?
No, it was kind of an old freestyle lore BMX thing about, it was such a coincidental number, and it's hard to get a straight answer as to what the it's just, if you talk to any BMX guy and you mention, okay, tell me about the number 43, they'll say some stuff, but they can't, you'll get 10 different answers from 10 different people.
Okay.
What's his name? Marley did flyers. He's a BMX guy, but he's a DJ also. Jay Marley. If you talk to Jay, if he's on here or whatever, and you say, Jay, what's the thing with the number 43 in BMX and freestyle? And he may say a lot, he may not, but it's just one of those things.
Right. So it's in that I guess industry or whatever. That's kind of what I was getting at. So okay.
Yeah, but it's not in, it doesn't. It's just one of those coincidental things. So.
Yeah.
Spooky sometimes.
And okay, so when did you get into breaks? Like, okay, I guess, yeah, when did you get into breaks?
Always.
And then, okay, how did you get into breaks? That's one thing I like to hear from people is, how did you find out about breaks?
Planet Rock.
Okay.
Planet Rock, and The Beat Goes On by Orbit. Play at Your Own Risk. Nucleus. Push the Button. Survivor. Just all the early electro, early break, early electro, Clear, Security, Beat Club.
Right.
But growing up playing nightclub stuff, those records would come through and they were kind of off, but they were so on. And obviously Planet Rock goes back to the 80s, but
right.
I remember roller skating and that song comes on and I'd lose my shit.
Yeah.
And
so you just knew that you knew breaks was for you?
Yes, that moved me. Honestly, it really did. There wasn't, the house really hadn't established itself as anything, but that's why it was so easy when I started hearing some of the underground stuff that mixed the breakbeat stuff with the techno-y stuff and the tweaky stuff that it was like, oh, that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you said it. It moves you. That's how it is for me, man. Like it's like I like breaks is like I say it's like kind of like my soul music. Like it moves me more so than any other style of music for whatever reason that is.
I got so turned off. Like I remember some early, I remember when I got the double pack of from a record pool of Baby Got Back, Sir Mix-a-Lot, and obviously the main single the main single is the one that was the huge hit, but there were techno mixes on that double pack.
Okay.
And I remember early CNC Music Factory, they did In the Name of Love, and there was a techno mix, but I just a lot of folks call it straight beat or four to the floor, but just house beat stuff. It took me so long to catch on to it. Of course, now I love house music. I love trance, progressive house, everything. But at first, I was like, no, this doesn't have a good beat. But it was all the remnants of freestyle. Shannon Let the Music Play, BG Prince of Rap. Just the stuff that had broken beats.
Right.
And that was what. If it had something, I would always go to something that had the funky beats with it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, house, like I like house too, and I think house has like really good production, and they come up with some awesome melodies and things like that. But I always think that the house tracks sound better as a fucking breakbeat. So yeah, we got people in the chat. Like anybody in the chat, if you guys got questions, anything like that, throw them out there. Tom says DJ Hardware played a bunch of breaks at the time that exposed him to you. That's how I heard of you.
Yeah, I like Todd Hardware. I met him a long time ago at music conference back when music conference meant something. But his Toxic Twin stuff and a lot of the trancey breaks, trance songs when they have a breakdown with a breakbeat, all that stuff was great.
Yeah.
And his remix of his two of the remixes that I just will forever love are his remixes of Cotton Club, New Jack, and then the I'll House You by Jungle Brothers, the Toxic Twins remix. Those are just screaming remixes.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah. Did you do any and we're gonna go deep into what you have produced, but did you do any producing outside of like the breaks genre?
Yeah, actually, from the very first record I did, there was a house song. There was a Four on the Floor mix on something on the other side.
Okay.
Millennium Countdown Behind You, that has a house mix on the other side.
Okay.
Promised Land has a house mix. Tracing Circles has a house mix.
Okay.
It never caught on. And I tell you what, man, the production thing, I wish I'd have known what the hell I was doing, because I was like, I had no clue, dude.
Right.
I had a version of Logic that had a book that thick of how to do this and that, and it was the deaf leading the blind and dumb, and Darcy was there with me sometimes, a lot of times. We're just some of the ways, the most rudimentary ways we made songs were oh my gosh. And then I spent one weekend down in Tampa with Huda Hoodia and Dave London. I learned more just watching them in 2 hours than I did in the previous year.
Yeah.
Because I had nobody teaching me.
Yeah.
I wish I'd do a lot different. I'm very stubborn. I was very stubborn.
Right. Somebody said, "Can we get some remasters?" So maybe you could redeem yourself. But I understand, man, because like I've never made a track before, but I'm working on a track right now with one of the guys from the Audio Bots, and I am watching him in Ableton, and I'm like, there's no way that I could do this. It would take me years just to learn the software enough to make like a crappy song. Well,
way back when you had Cakewalk, you had Logic, you had Pro Tools, and once you got to that level of software, they all pretty much did the same thing. It's just whatever you learned on.
Okay.
And it's Cakewalk was one of the ones that everybody said it was so easy and da da da. Of course, everything back then was 99% MIDI. And triggering everything, because computers didn't have a whole lot of what's it called, memory and processing power, whatever that you need for the digital stuff. But watching, when the changeover came from from hardware, just outboard gear, keyboards, or whatever else, to software, there was a big learning curve.
Yeah.
And luckily with that, what we didn't have back in the day was YouTube or whatever. Now you can just go click and type in how to so and so capable, how to so and so Logic. You go watch a video and learn it in 20 seconds.
Yep, that's
Back
a good
then,
point.
you're spending 2 hours flipping through a manual, trying all this stuff, and then you got to cross-reference it with the manual from the keyboard of okay, well, wait a minute, I got to set it to this, and this. And it is, but if you get somebody that knows what they're doing, and they're worth every dollar that you pay. And I've heard that's how with Paulie with Fix, that he knows his way inside and out of Ableton. And if you do that, what may take somebody 8 hours, they can do it about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he was selling, or he might still be selling those sample packs. So I mean, he was making his own stuff inside of Ableton and selling it to other people to use. So you definitely got to know what you're doing. And actually, somebody just put on here, don't forget about Acid. Yeah, that was a multi thing, whatever. That same people that did SoundForge did Acid. It was like an early loop-based. I never used it, but I saw people that used it. It was an early loop-based thing, like Ableton. Right. So, what kind of hardware did you have when you were doing this?
I started out with a 386 something S whatever computer with not a whole lot of RAM.
The old 386.
I had an Akai Remix 16, and for those that remember those, they were a very unique little piece of gear, but it was really cool. It was a sampler, and I upgraded it with memory, and then I had I think I bought an MC303 when they first came out, and that was my first little bit, and then I bought a bass station, a Novation bass station, and then I Boss drum machine, DR660, and then I ended up buying a Roland XP60, and it was the one. It was the model that you could put in the sound cards, the different type of sound cards. It was the dance card, techno card, or whatever else.
Right.
And
do you happen to have any of your gear left?
Actually, yeah, I've still got. Let's see, in my studio, I've still got a Studio Electronics. Was it SE1 or something? I've got a Filter Factory outboard filter. I've got a JP8080, which is the rack version of the JP8000. I've got a EMU, whatever the little orange thing is called. I can't remember. I've got a JV2080 Roland that's loaded up with a dance card, sound card. The dance card is the one that got outlawed or got pulled from the market. And then I've got a loaded up Korg Triton, and then I've got a Nord Lead, an original Nord Lead.
Dang.
And a 303, and I still got some gear because when I stopped making music, for the most part, folks were still using outboard gear.
Okay.
So.
So what's it doing right now? Is it just? Do you have like a museum room, or what's going on?
It's
with
over.
it?
It's over there in the studio.
Okay.
I'm actually at my dining room table.
Oh, so you still so you have a studio still?
Oh yeah. I still
okay.
have a
Cool.
studio.
All right, we can talk about that. I was going to kind of get into that later. So I mean, so are you still making music? What's up with that?
I have. Every once in a while, when I have a completely clear mind, which is hard, I will. I'll go in there. I started working on a song a while back after I got back from the devotion party back in February. I started working on a track, and I even called Dave London about it and told him, like, look, this will be, if it comes out how I want it to, it'll be good. But of course, it's August now, and COVID hit, and it's been a COVID kind of turned my world upside down too, just like everybody else's. But yeah, every once in a while I'll get in there and mess around, do some bootlegs. I did some bootlegs that I gave out to some friends through the years.
That's cool. It's break stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What are you using now to make music?
When I started, I had Logic version 2. And I've actually posted the pictures of the disc. I still have the little literally floppy discs. Now it's Logic 10, but I went through after version 6, they got bought out by Apple, so you had to go completely to Mac, and that's been switching over to Mac from PC has been interesting. But, I'm running Logic.
Okay, cool.
Great platform. They just put out a new version that's got all kind of bells and whistles that I will never ever use, but people swear by it.
There's so much stuff inside of the software now. It's crazy.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. Tom says Sound Blaster was the sound cards to go after at that time. I remember Sound Blasters because I used to build my computers a long time ago. And yeah, Sound Blaster, that was the one. That was what you wanted for gaming and all that stuff.
I have I got a what's it called? M Audio
Okay.
that had a breakout box. And actually, I still have the box in there. I have my computer from back there, but power supply's gone dead. But it had the breakout box that had 4 ins and 4 outs of a 1/4 inch, and then the PCI card had a digital in and out,
Okay.
SPIF, and that was state of the art back then.
Right.
Those were your AD converters. Oh, and a TC finalizer. That was the big piece of gear back then. It was a TC Electronics finalizer.
So, do you have any of your vinyl? Like, not just personal collection, but I mean, everybody that I talk to, they seem to have like, not stacks, but like, they got a bunch of records pressed, and then like, I guess either all of them didn't get shipped or they didn't sell, so they have like stacks of them laying around somewhere. Do you have any of your vinyl?
I've got some, and I've got a guy that I dropped the ball. This guy, after the podcast with Dave London, a guy from Spain contacted me, and was needing to check what I had. I knew my storage unit had some stuff, and I found some records. I just got to get a quote to get it mailed out. But I've got I put a record out for Lenny B. Lenny Bertoldo, he did a lot of remix work in the 90s and like house remix stuff. But he wanted to do a break song. It's called Nerve, and then I think we called it Nerve Cell. I've got a whole bunch of those because that was
Nerve Cell, like Nerve Cell with that. Dang, what is that Nerve Cell? Was the track called Nerve Cell or the group is called Nerve Cell?
I'm not sure.
Is it the Nerve Cell song, like that, like amazing progressive break song?
It's on the Fungus label. I'm not sure.
All right.
But I just mailed a couple of records off to a guy in Alabama. He actually got it today. Kevin Lazar, whatever.
It's Nerve Cell Crash Override?
Yep, that's it.
That's you?
No, that's the Fungus label. That's Lenny B.
Oh, okay.
Lenny Bertoldo. But I put that out on the Fungus label. The problem is, and yeah, I've got a buttload of those. But because that was right when everything was going to digital.
Dude, I will take one of those after we're done. Because I love that song.
Oh, cool.
That is an awesome song. So one of the guys we had on a couple weeks ago who was playing, he played that song, and I hadn't heard it in forever. It's like all these songs that are out. I don't get to hear them. You hear 15 years since the last time you heard it, and I'm like, yeah, no, that is an awesome song. I'm looking it up on Discogs right now. Okay, cool.
Cool. Maybe I need to let it be known that I've got a buttload of them because I got a whole shipment. I don't know how many boxes I got back that. Yeah, I got them for sale. If you'll need some, just message me.
So are you Fungus? Was that your label?
Well, Fungus it started out as that group that we went and played places, and like a promotion thing, just kind of something to call our nights.
Okay.
It was a Fungus party. They just knew, hey, if it's a Fungus party, they know, and it was basically geared to a lot of the international students that they come here and they come from places where they heard house all the time. They heard this was the early days of drum and bass when it was really called jungle. In the early days of breaks, but we were playing, early Armand Van Helden records, early Icy records. Darcy was playing early jungle, and this was Armand when it was, had 25 different names before he was really Armand Van Helden, so to speak, as far as the big remixer. But then it kind of just morphed into not production company, but we started throwing parties like on a bigger scale. We'd bring in. I think the first person we brought in with a big name was we brought Andy Hughes.
Okay.
And then we brought in Andy, Sandy, Diesel Boy, Icy, Kimball Collins, Charles Feelgood. Let's see. I mean, and those were just little one-off parties besides the big parties. And the big parties we threw, we had pretty big lineups in Atlanta, and we kind of we were going up against Liquid Groove, Pleasure. Outer Limits,
and what year was this? What year were you booking these parties?
That would have been probably 97, 98, 99.
Okay. So how was did Atlanta have a big electronic music scene at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Liquid Groove was doing, and that the parties up there were great. Sasha and Digweed were coming regularly. I mean, Doc Martin, Josh Wink. I mean, they were throwing big parties. Paul Van Dyke, but Liquid Groove was there for so long. Devin and Damien. That they had the inside track on everybody, which is fine. So we kind of had to try and go around and get some folks that like our big kind of what we called coming out parties was with Kevin Saunderson and Derek May, which, you know, two of the godfathers of house music and techno. And that party, you know, God, if we threw that party 15 years later, it cost us 20 times as much. And,
Right.
But we had, you know, John Kelly and, you know, all the Florida guys. And that's actually where I met Derek, D Extremes. We brought him, Sandy, Andy.
Okay.
We had Dave London and Huda Hoodia. But competing in Atlanta, I don't want to say competing, at least everybody would be on the same page as to where we're not overlapping parties and dates.
Yeah.
You know, they had their places, they did their nights. And then our kind of go-to place was the International Ballroom in Atlanta.
Okay.
And that's if we didn't do it in Athens. So.
And so, okay, so that was, what year was that again, did you say?
That was like 97,
Okay.
98. I know the origin party was in 98. And then we did one called Amazon. And that was like the first, I believe Amazon was the first large scale, or was Amazon was just something else. It was the first large scale full drum and bass lineup that Atlanta had done, like a full big party, not just a drum and bass side room. You know, it was Phantom 45, let's see, Doc Scott, J Magic. I can't remember. You know, some of the Metalheads guys. It was, but it was at the International Ballroom.
Yeah. And so so when did you? Well, okay. At that time, you were bringing people up from Florida, and you were booking them, right?
Well, me and Clay were over it, and we were doing it at Bone Shakers in Darcy. We, you know, just make little flyers, and you know, we'd have, you know, the headliner and then 2 or 3 other DJs. And this is at a nightclub. And then we brought this girl named Christy Dickert came about, and she was, again, her and Clay, where they were a promotion machine. And it basically became, you know, the days of, on every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they were in the car driving somewhere, or we were driving somewhere to go flyer, up to 7 hours away. You know, just, hey, we got to go to this party because we got to, or we'd mail flyers to New Orleans, or we mail them to Orlando, so the drop shop and over at the record stores. But that's, you know, that's how it was back then.
Yeah. No, I was doing that for a little while as well. Yeah, flyer in parking lots and people getting all pissed off and shit.
Rain or shine.
Yeah. You gotta get the word out there.
Yeah, but it was great. We had a lot of fun. Lost a lot of money, but met a lot of folks.
Yeah,
lost
a lot of money, dude. Yes.
But it was, I'd never take it back.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely do a lot of things different. But the folks that, like Christy, Clay, and Darcy, we were just such a tight group of friends then that, I mean, we met almost every other day at the Mellow Mushroom in downtown Athens. We had our own little booth that our butt prints are probably still embedded in there from all the time. You know, hey, you know, we had beepers then. You know, that was cool.
Right. So you came to Florida after that, right? That's why I was asking about what year that was.
Well, 97, I put out a white label with How the Bass Kicks on one side and a track called Thunder on the other side. And actually, the record release party was one we had bought Kimball Collins, and gave away a bunch of records. The next thing I know, I think I printed up like 250 or 300, and they started selling really well in Florida because How the Bass Kicks was a break song. And I got a call from Neil at Pandisc Records out of Miami. Pandisc did a lot of, you know, freestyle and Florida, they did a lot of the early mix CDs for Florida DJs.
Yeah, I have some Pandisc records.
Sure, and Spice from Friction and Spice licensed How the Bass Kicks for his mix CD.
Okay.
And then we had brought Dave London up and Huda Hoodia up, and they were just starting to be, they had already put out Blazing Pianos, and so they were starting to, you know, put stuff out, and they asked to license and remix How the Bass Kicks.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did, and it came out in late 98, early 99, I believe, and it did pretty well. I'm not going to say it didn't, but I did a remix on one side, and then they did their mix, and their mix just blew it out of the water.
Hold your thought right there, buddy. Hold on. I got it right here. I still play this song.
I played that mix one time when I was in Florida. Andy Hughes, I was down there visiting some friends or whatever, and Andy Hughes let me play in the the Den, I guess, at Firestone, and you could tell the ones that were DJs because they all ran up trying to look and see what it was. You know, obviously it was just a white label at that time, but it was, yep, that's it.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of got a glare, but yeah, that's it.
Yep, and yep, that's the one that Lawrence, Dan and Dave, they licensed, and they did the Junior Camp remix that did really well.
1998 Kaleidoscope.
Yep, 98. Yep.
I'm trying to think which one. I feel like I play yours more. I don't know. I'll have to listen to it again. But yeah, no, this comes out. This comes out every once in a while. I actually have multiple copies of it. So this was on. Yeah, this is Kaleidoscope number 5. So
yep.
That's cool.
So I guess they did Blazing Pianos, The Rhythm, Clap Your Hands, and then one other one I can't remember what it was, and then that was, yep.
And so that got you down into Florida, like on the Florida radar?
Yeah, that got me down there, and I met a girl online, and
was it on AOL?
She lived in Tampa. She lived in Tampa, and then Lawrence and excuse me, I hate to keep saying Lawrence, but I mean Dave
yeah,
London,
Lawrence.
Dave and Dan Huda, they lived in Tampa, and I was like, well, she lives down there, they live down there, maybe so I decided to move.
Did you meet this girl on AOL?
Yes.
I used AOL.
I met her in a chat room, dude.
Listen, I was a huge AOL fan. I did all that too. I was just super young. I was like 14 or 15, and
there was an age difference, but we met in some rave chat room, like Rave 2 or Raves, because they were just, once one got full, they started another one.
Right. I did not know about those chats. Damn, I wish I would have. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay.
But we ended up seeing each other for a while, and I moved down there, and things kind of fell apart. And I should have known when I moved down there, because I moved down there on April 1st, which is obviously April Fool's Day.
Oh.
No, I had a good time down there, and that would have been in '98. Moved back in September, and then when I moved back, I was already working on Pepper Spray, and then Lawrence heard it and said he wanted to license it because he was stepping out from Kaleidoscope and starting his own label called Yes Me. So the first version of Pepper Spray, I guess, came out in '99. And that's kind of what that's how the Bass Kicks definitely put me on the Florida map and the breakbeat map, but that record there kind of pushed it over the edge. And the only thing I'm going to say is I would be nowhere without Huda Hoodia and Dave London. The remix they did for How the Bass Kicks and what Dave London did for Pepper Spray, I mean, I would, nobody ever plays my mixes, and I'm okay with that. That's the way it is. And I am okay, but I also respect and appreciate what they did. They did a great job, and that's so and so's song. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, but it's Lawrence. It is what it is.
But you were the originator, man. I mean, it's easy to do a remix. You don't have to come up with the original content. That is the tough part. So right. Yeah, anybody. I mean, and I've just learned this recently, just because I've been sitting with Chris, who's actually in the chat, about the making the music stuff. I mean, take a track. You can take anybody's track and remix it, But thinking of that original idea that's going to be a solid foundation for a good remix, that's the work.
Well, is somebody, Rob Williams just posted about Club 5 in Jacksonville. The good thing about Pepper Spray, and I never really thought of it this way, is that it had such a big crossover appeal because of the sample and the drum beat. Obviously coming from my nightclub background, what makes people dance, it's a beat, but the salt and pepper stuff, that really, and then how Dave reworked it and, just brutalized the sample and just killed it.
Yeah.
It just got good crossover, and it got played in underground clubs. I mean, a friend of mine that owns a adult entertainment club here in town, he told me he was in Destin way back when we weren't really getting along, and he heard Pepper Spray and walked up the booth because he was also he was kind of DJing, but he wanted to know what the song was. And as soon as he was told it was DJ 43, he just laughed and said, "Oh, get the hell out of here."
That's awesome.
But now we're the best of friends. But it had a good crossover appeal because of the sample and everything. But it also, you kind of had to be careful because I think one time it was either Jimmy or somebody was playing at House of Blues or whatever, and somebody that was in Salt and Pepper's camp walked up and kind of asked, "Hey, what's that?" And so I don't know. It's just a white label.
Dang. So just so you know, I don't know if you've looked this record up recently, but this one, with the Infinity remix on it, is for a very good plus is $33 on Discogs. Okay. So do you got a garage full of these?
No, those are
okay.
That's the remixes that came out. What's the copyright date on that? That's probably like
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
The original ones, I think I've got 2 that are still sealed in the cellophane, and those would have been the ones that came out in '99.
That's on Weekend Breaks. The label, I guess, is the label Weekend Breaks.
No, these were on Yes Mate.
Okay. There's one here on Discogs that is, and now it says DJ 43. It says it's DJ 43. The label is Weekend Breaks, and it
got licensed, I think, in overseas.
That's what it is in Spain. It says that one's in Spain. Okay.
Spain licensed it, and
gotcha. Okay.
The label looks totally different on the original.
So that one, this one's on fire or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that the record that's on fire? There has the.
No, that's the graphic is the one on fire. That's the original label.
Okay.
From the original release.
Okay.
Of just my mix and Dave's mix, and then the one in your hand is the Infinity and Mike and Charlie remix, and then Dave's remix also.
You know what, dude? I got to tell you, I don't know if I've ever heard the original. That's sad.
Good. Don't.
No. I'll have to look through my records and see if I have it. And I have a bunch of records I just haven't gone through yet. It could be in there.
I don't think I have ever played the original.
Wow. Okay.
Ever.
Oh, so you're playing the Dave? Okay, that's what you're saying about.
That's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
You know, that's
right.
It's what they want to hear, which is fine.
Right.
Which is fine.
Well, I got some more here. Let me see. Let me pull out these other ones. Let's see what we got. All right. So, I'll save that one for last. Let me see what I got here. Well, no, we'll just go through these. Okay. So, we got No Tears.
Yep.
Great track. I still play the shit out of this one.
You should hear the house mix that we did that, of course, never released, that never got, it was just one I just messed around with at the house. But, Carrie came down, brought some vocals. We worked for a little bit, and I finished off the track for Funk Wax. That's when they wanted female vocals.
Right. Yeah.
And they did a remix contest, too, so.
Yeah, it says Funk Wax remix contest. Details inside.
Dude, I gotta tell you, Funk Wax got of course everybody's turning everything in on CD at the time, because there was no thumb drives or here, I'm mailing you an MP3. No, that just wasn't going on.
Right.
And it was a stack, just huge stack of, it was great, but having to listen to them over, going through all of them, they did it, I didn't, but I got a whole bunch of them after it was all over because I was just curious, and there were some really interesting takes on it.
What happened with the remixes?
I can't, honestly, I'm not sure. One of the ones that I think they found out somebody did a ghost mix, and it was good. It was a trance mix.
Okay.
And where we couldn't really nail down, somebody turned it in, but I think they found out that they knew it wasn't that person.
Oh, okay.
That somebody probably paid, and you could just tell the production was top notch.
Right.
And we had some ideas who it might be, but it's just, I think everything kind of fell apart at that time.
Okay. Well, it's cool the sticker's still on.
Just going back to the pepper spray thing, just real quick, somebody put something, 95.3 The Party, they picked up pepper spray for their for their CD at the time, and it got on the radio and everything, and that, when I was living down there, that was what's going on down there, and that was kind of cool. But they, just anytime you're driving around, you hear a song, even if you didn't do that mix, it's still, referred to as DJ 43, and again, I can't thank them enough, but there's always an asterisk by it, and I
No, this song, dude, I love the song. I still play this one. It's a good song.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else. Then we got this Fungus one, which I can't even tell you what this song is. I haven't listened to it. This is one of the...
let me see the other side of it. Yeah, that's Millennium Countdown.
Yeah.
That came out after How the Bass Kicks, and it was one of those that I wish I had a mulligan on. I like the idea behind it because it was coming, I was hoping it was going to be in '99 and be a decent record going into the millennium, but it just didn't sell that well. Which is, and I think they sold out, but there were no reorders.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, 98. Oh, this was the first release.
Well, How the Bass Kicks, the original white label, was just a white label that I had some handwriting on, or had a stamp on it. That had a phone number, and that's it. My name and phone number and the name of the track. So actual fungus-wise, that's kind of the first BH001, I guess. And
so you just went and got records pressed yourself?
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm doing this shit.
Yeah, they're out of Texas. I used to know the phone number by heart. But one of the few pressing plants that a lot of folks used. Yeah, I just sent them a DAT and they printed it up.
And how much was that back then? Just curious.
Oh God, I really don't remember.
How many did you get pressed?
Of which record?
Of How the Bass Kicks.
Oh, the first one I did like 250 or 300 records.
Okay.
And I just found about 25 of them in my.
That's cool.
I thought all of them were gone, but yeah, they're white labels that are untouched.
I'm kind of doing that journey right now. Chris and I, the guy from the Audiobots, just kind of one thing. I always wanted to like make a track, but we're gonna like follow this journey through getting it pressed on wax.
Yeah, so basically just call them up and send them a DAT, and they'll send you a acetate, which is basically what they call a dub plate, in drum and bass. And basically it's just a reference. It basically sounds exactly like that, and you tell them you like it or you don't.
Right.
If you don't like it, you tell them what to change, or you send them a different mix down or something.
Right.
And then after that, they make the test pressings. You can order however many test pressings you want. Usually you get about 20 test pressings.
Okay.
And give them out to just, at that point, you gave them out to just the few key players to play. Test pressings, they're white labels. That's where the whole, aura of a white label was.
Promo only.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
If you were going to music conference, you'd take, 30 or 40 or 50, but you knew who needed to get them.
Right. Gotcha.
The Andy Hugheses, the Sandys, the ones that were working and touring, playing out and whatever. Those are the ones. And then, you trade with folks. You trade with. So. Right.
This Paco wants to know: are you selling any of your old school tracks digitally? Are they available anywhere?
I think Dave London has some of them on the YesMate website, as well as maybe Beatport. My stuff, somebody asked earlier about digital remasters. I lost, and all this was mixed down to DAT, and I don't even know where the masters are. I've moved so many times that I'm just not even sure where they are. But Tom just said How the Bass Kicks on Beatport. It's low quality. Tom, if you can chime in and say is it the Dave London mix or is it the original mix? But I can, after this happens, maybe if I'll ask Lawrence or Dave if he wants to put them on his website. I don't care about making any money off of it. Just pay for what it costs to get it on there and whatever. But
everybody needs to bother him after this. If you want it to happen, bother him. Email him, message him, all this stuff. Just bother him.
Okay, Tom just said the original, and the original would be the one that was on the Electro Avengers CD that Spice put out on Pandisc. And yeah, that one's I've got some of those, and I can probably I can digitize it and try and get it onto the YesMate site. I just don't have the technology to do it or to put it online or whatever. So
yeah, everybody just hit him up, bother him till it happens. He'll find a way. When there's a will, there's a way. All right. So this was actually I think this is the same. Yeah, this is No Tears. But this is just on the Funk Wax Essential Sampler. And then
it's a compilation. Yeah.
Okay. So that one I don't got to go through. This one I got something funny about. Okay. So this is Funky Beat DJ Eclipse, and it's the DJ 43 O-Town remix.
Mm-hmm.
Great song. Has anybody ever said to you that it sounds like they're saying pork and beans? When he's like, funky beat, funky beat. But it sounds like pork and beans, pork and beans.
Really?
That's what I thought it was the first time I heard it. I was like, this must be a joke. I'm like, why would they put pork and beans in some song? But it's funky beats, and then
Yeah, it's the Chuck D sample. You know, do you really like to rock the funky beats?
Right.
That's where funky beat came from.
right, the funky beats, yeah.
Wow.
Good
Pork
song,
and beans.
dude. I love this song. Like I still play. Actually, well, I play all those except for the Millennium one. I don't really know, but I play all these. Actually, I just bought this record. I just bought this record off Discogs a couple months ago.
Really?
Yeah, cause
Good. I'm glad you got one. I don't have one.
yeah, it's on Discogs. I actually don't think it was really that cheap. Let's see.
I will. You know, you were talking about missed lyrics. That was one of the things about Pepper Spray. Everybody thought it said "pick up on this," and it's actually "get up on this."
Oh yeah. Yep. Get up on this. Yeah, it does sound like that. It does.
And Rob just put on here. Wanted and Tracing Circles are on Apple. Yeah, they're on. Those are on iTunes. Which I'm actually surprised that Wanted hasn't gotten pegged for because I used a John Bon Jovi sample on Wanted.
Oh yeah.
And
So
I think that was the last single I put out was Wanted.
this song is $43 on Discogs. $43. $43 for
Imagine that.
DJ 43. There it is.
Well, that's
Hold
I
on.
told you
Hold
about
on.
the-
Here it is. It's $43.43.
I told you that it was a coincidental
Yep,
number, and it
yep.
just shows up in strange
Yep.
places. But
This
there-
guy must think that he's funny. DJ
Who is
FICO.
it?
His name's I don't know. His seller name is DJ FICO. He must think that he's funny since it's $43.43.
well,
So
God
yeah,
bless him if he gets it.
some of these records, man, like the Pepper Spray one is that one's expensive as well. So yeah, it's amazing how much these have increased in value over the years.
Maybe I need to empty out my closet.
Seriously, I was telling Dave London, you were listening that like Miracle Whip. I paid $30 for Miracle Whip.
Yeah.
And
I did see Pepper Spray, one of the original ones, for like $80-$90 one time.
yeah.
That was before the let's see, when was that? Before digital really hit, but it was sealed and whatever. I don't know if somebody paid for it, but that's what it was. That's what they were asking.
Yeah. So let's talk about your time at Funk Wax. Because Funk Wax is probably my favorite label, and so you were just a contributing artist, and then you worked there for a little bit.
Yeah, very short period of time that I worked there. Like I said, I was living in Orlando at the time, and basically at that time it was 100% DJ or hitting the road or whatever for income. And the bad thing about that is you got to count on other people to call you to make money.
Okay.
You can't make money if you don't get booked.
Right.
And you're only as good as your last record, whatever they say, or your last gig. And I told you I had a lot of regrets about some of that stuff, but they were looking for another salesman because they were, things were picking up. This is before digital sales went through the roof, and they were just moving vinyl and mixed CDs. And this is when everybody was buying mixed CDs and Drop Shop and what's it called? What was the other one? The other record shop in Orlando that.
There was
kill me.
Danceterium down south, and I don't.
Cliff Tangeretti ran it. Oh gosh, he's going to.
Somebody in the chat chime in. I don't know what it was.
It was across the street from the Orlando Magic store way back when. But anyways, I was looking for something to do. They needed a salesman to sell records, and it was cold. You had to cold call record shops, which you don't know who you're talking to. And I realized that I am not at all a person that can pick up a phone and sell a record to somebody.
Yeah.
And they would let them listen to it. They had record players at all the phone stations that you could let people listen to it. But
so funny hearing that.
Yeah, and I could not do it. My anxiety really started kicking in, and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of person either, man. I'm not a cold caller. But that whole system is hilarious. Because when I was talking to Storm, he was telling me that. Because Storm was procuring records for where he was at, and then also for other places. And he's like, I would be calling people and telling them they need to listen to this song, or I would be getting calls from labels, and it'd be over the phone. They're like, hold on, let me listen. Here's the track. Listen to it.
Yeah.
Or you'd get a description over fax that was like what the song was. It's like, it's got some beep, beep, boop, boop in it. It's some wah, 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 stuff like that.
Well, back in those days, literally when the white labels came in, it would come in with an info sheet. what they call one sheets or something or whatever, and it had a whole like breakdown of this with powerful vocal, this blah 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 with turd break da 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 blah, and it was must play follow up, but it was at the end of the day, it's what the record sounded like, but you really were still having to sell things because not every record shop had record players in them for people to listen to stuff. They'd have to take the word of the clerk or whoever that this is a great song or you got to have this or whatever.
Right,
so.
right. That's awesome.
Hey, I want to chime in real quick. Somebody's watching. His name's Greg Martin.
Yeah, he said your weave's on crooked.
Yeah, well, Greg, I got to tell you, I told you about the nightclub that I started working at called Bone Shakers, and Greg was the owner at the time, him and Jerry, and Greg kind of became like my second father. When I moved back from Orlando, he ended up living at my house for a while, and he got me fat. I started on some antidepressants and whatever, and he would he'd cook, and he owned the club before I ended up buying it from them after it defaulted with the other folks. And but I'd come home at 3 a.m. to this big ass plate of food of just like Southern cooking, whatever. So I'd eat early, at 7 or 8 before I go to work, then have the leftovers when I get home. And it was just, it was sinful.
Yeah.
It was absolutely sinful.
All those carbs.
He was, God bless him, man. He did so much for me. And he could tell you some stories about me, and I could tell you some stories about him. But again, I'm just going to tell you, it was real interesting being a straight, blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy working at a gay club, and it was. I would not change it for the world.
Constant harassment.
Oh no, harassment. There was no such thing as sexual harassment. It was expected there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, just relentless.
But it was the best place, and it's kind of what they did at Bone Shakers was legendary. And I was fortunate enough to be able to run it for a while until we had the county was expanding a county project, and they had to get our land and get the building from us, so we had to leave and close. But it was just an honor to actually work there. I worked there literally. I played the pre-party, the VIP party when they first opened, and then I DJ'd there and played the last record on New Year's Eve 2005.
Nice.
He's watching. Greg, I appreciate everything. Buddy.
Shout out to Greg. Shout out to everybody else in the chat. Tom, Paco. What's up, Scott? Mr. Infinity himself just joined us.
Yeah, Scott's in here. Hey, buddy.
We just went over pepper spray, man. We were just talking about it.
Yeah, I think I kind of freaked Scott out a little bit. I was at back in October. He was getting in an elevator with Q and oh gosh, the turntable guy, Phonic.
Craze?
No, he made. I'm so.
Joel.
Joel, yeah. They were getting a thing, and I walked up to speak, and I played with Q years ago in Marietta Square for an Outer Limits party. When he was actually doing live shows with full percussion gear, with the whole trap set and everything. But, I hadn't seen Scott in I don't know how long. And I think I kind of scared him because I'm just like rushing towards it. Sorry, Scott.
Like barreling towards him. That's funny.
But no, it's, I don't know, man. It's just been a hell of a ride.
So when I was looking at your Discogs, it looked like your last maybe official release was in around 2001.
As 43, yeah, I think I put out that Nerve Cell record for Crash, the Crash Override.
Yeah, it said you were the executive producer on it.
When I say executive producer, that means I got it printed up, pressed up, got it mailed out, and got it to the distributors. But again, I got so many of those right now because that's right when everything flopped in the final world. It all went digital.
Yeah. Let's talk about your mix CD. So how did let's see where I have that up here. It was called Breakout.
Yes.
And so how did that come into being? Let me see, what year was that?
It's 2000. So it would have been right after I moved down to Florida.
Okay.
I moved down there 3 days before the millennium because we did a live show at 600 North. It was me and Dave London did a live show, and that was in the heyday of the pepper spray phenomenon or whatever. Not phenomenon, but just it was very popular. And Dave had his own releases that were doing well. So, but this is also when everybody was doing mixed CDs.
Yeah. Nice.
They had the Orlando breaks. Robbie and Dave ended up doing one, but folks, they just wanted to do a mix CD. So I grabbed some of my songs and remixes, and then there's a Shiraz song on here, Waveform by Deep Dubs, which is Rennie Pilgrim. But Scott did a great remix of that that came out later on. But yeah, there's an Icy song, and Icy was nice enough to give us a song because we licensed Pepper Spray. He got Pepper Spray for Baby Ann, and that's really what really helped. Was Pepper Spray was on Baby Ann's Bass Clean, I think, CD. That did really well.
How many of these CDs you got laying around?
Not that many.
Okay.
Lawrence had some. What's funny is it says $16.99. Good gracious. I maybe got 3 or 4 left, maybe.
Okay.
And Lawrence, excuse me, Dave London may have some. But yeah, these are. I think it's something I may talk to Dave about. Maybe he should put it up on the. Since we own, well, I don't know if the licenses have run out, but he'd have to maybe talk to everybody about putting it out. But that it's just a different when it's a mixed CD. The whatever the contract is for so long for the licensing of the royalties.
Okay.
So
gotcha. The last one sold for $23 on Discogs, but there hasn't been one for sale since 2015.
Wow.
That was the last time one was sold.
Wow.
I'm just gonna put it on my want list real quick. That's
Well,
cool. So I listened to a little bit of it because they actually somebody put it on YouTube, so you can listen to the whole mix on YouTube. So I haven't listened to the whole thing. I listened to I think the first like 3 songs or something like that. And so how was that distributed nationally? Like how many copies of a CD do you get when you're like what's your initial run? Like I don't really know much about putting.
I never did. This was done by Funk Wax.
Okay.
Funk Wax and Yes Mate did this, and it's on the back. You can see the Funk Wax logo and the Yes Mate logo.
Okay.
I'm not sure how many they did. I really don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I'm assuming usually they'll do about 1,500 to 2,000, and then depending on how quickly they sell, they may reorder.
Okay.
But if they sell slow, they're going to wait until they you never know how long. Again, you're only as good as your last record or your last CD.
Yeah.
But if another artist puts out another big CD, like if there's another Orlando Breaks CD coming out, well, it just kind of kills whatever.
Right. So look at the back of the CD sleeve. So before I say what I was gonna say earlier, what are you holding in your hands? Is that I'm trying to look at it.
All right, I'm gonna have to open this one up.
Oh, come on, no, you don't have to open it.
Well, I mean, I need to. I was gonna put one in a case or whatever. God, can I even get into this thing? This is back when children don't try this at home.
Yeah, you need like a knife or a envelope
know, right?
or a paper opener.
It's just it's easier to. All right, there we go. All right, let's see here. Chris Patterson did all the artwork for this, and that's who my roommate was when I lived in Florida. We lived over back near the UCF. What am I holding? Oh, am I in this striped shirt?
Yeah, and your referee shirt. What are your hands
dude,
on?
That's a turntable. Look there's a tone arm right there.
Oh, okay, now I can see it. Okay, my perspective was off. Yeah, okay, now I see it. I see the tone arm. So
skinny that you could see the veins in my arm.
So if anybody, if you go to Discogs and you type in DJ43, you can find the CD. But on the back, he's wearing a referee shirt, and he's got like blonde, kind of like curly hair, and he looks like the ghost on Ghostbusters that flies into the room to steal the baby with the stroller thing, with the baby carriage thing, and then flies out the window. It's like your eyes are glowing and everything, dude. Because he was an evil ghost or whatever. Dude, you look very, very similar. I made me laugh when I saw that for the first time.
One time Sandy told me I looked like Niles from Frasier. And then also got called Doogie Howser.
Yeah. Is this the only I guess is this the only mix CD that you ever did, or was this just the only one?
Yeah, the only official one that ever went out.
Okay.
Way back when you always did mixtapes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So. All right. Yeah, I had to listen to the rest of it. All right. So we went through the records. Okay. So what are you doing now?
I'm living up here in Athens, Georgia. I own a nightclub up here called the 90s Bar, which is a 90s theme bar.
Tell me how
and
that works with the theme thing. So like,
it's basically every bad song you ever heard in the '90s. And now we actually added plus to the name. It's called 90s Bar Plus because we're playing that stuff up to 2010 because people are getting older and our crowd is getting younger.
Right.
Time goes on. I did have an 80s bar also, which I don't know if y'all can see the 80s logo in the
80s,
Batman thing,
yeah.
but the 80s bar was exactly that. It was an 80s theme bar. All we did was play 80s music. I DJ'd there. The whole place was decked out with 80s posters.
That's what I was more talking about. Like, so what the decorations or the, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's what you call it. So what is in the 90s bar? What are some of the 90s decorations?
Well, basically, it's just a whole bunch of posters. From movies to rock stars to whatever. And then the music, it's everything from Britney to Christina Aguilera, CNC Music Factory,
Marky Mark and the
Backstreet
Funky
Boys.
Bunch.
Yeah, Marky Mark, Funky Bunch. Anything and everything from the Night at the Roxbury soundtrack. The nights I'll play, I'll squeeze in like breaks mixes of Infinity's mix of Looking for Something.
Yeah.
You do it. You do stuff. That just to try and get the crowd moving, and that's always one. If you drop it right when the Sweet Dreams part comes in with a flange on it, oh, they go nuts.
So you're booking DJs to come?
No.
Oh, okay. You don't. Okay.
No.
So you're the DJ.
No, I hire DJs, but I've also taught folks just to work the equipment because it's not so much how you play, it's what you play.
Okay.
Like there's some that I've had bartenders that I've taught how to work the equipment, and they'll just sit there and take requests all night and play the songs.
Okay.
So I hate to say it, they're glorified jukebox, but at least they learned how to work the equipment.
Yeah, no, I mean if that's what works, that's what works. So what kind of equipment are you using in there?
We've got actually, and I got one here because I'm repairing it. This is a Pioneer SEP C1.
Okay.
Basically it's two CDJs next to each other.
Okay.
They stopped making these, but I got about 5 of them. And it's great because it's in a rack unit, and then I just got a Pioneer DJ 900.
Okay. Nexus mixer. Yeah.
It's all digital, running Serato, and actually I'm still running Scratch Live, no sync buttons or whatever. But
Okay.
I mean, literally, it is just it's just such a fun place. Some of another big songs are like Cotton Eye Joe.
Right.
Even oh gosh, what's it called? It's huge.
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, but actually not so much anymore because these kids, they don't know it that well.
Really?
But
So they're coming
they
there
sure
for
know
the retro
Killers.
experience.
They know Blink 180, Blink 182. They know,
Okay.
it's a big sing along party every night.
That's cool. So are you guys open right now, or are you still closed down?
We had to shut down in March, and we were shut down for 3 months because of COVID. The governor shut us down. We were able to open in June, but we can only have 35% capacity.
Okay.
And that's been rough. And then most recently, the local government decided, with the University of Georgia coming back into session in August, they passed an ordinance to shut us down. They wanted to shut us down at 9, and then they backed it up to 10, and then some of the bars in town sued, and they got it backed up to 11:30. So right now we're at 35% capacity, and we have to shut down at 11:30.
Do you serve food there?
No.
Okay.
No, here
in Florida, all the bars are closed.
Yeah, I know.
Unless
I know.
unless you serve food. Like there's a brewery downtown here where I am, and they had to go. Well, they had like a little pizza shop in there, but it didn't really qualify as a restaurant. So they had to go and get a real food license to stay open. And then one of the guys down the street who has a cider house, he was on CNN because he was like, "Fuck it, we're opening back up." He was trying to give away beer for free to get around the little you can't sell alcohol on premise thing. So he's like, fine, we'll just give it away. So he started giving beer away. People started coming to the bar, and then the state came over and was like, you can't be doing this shit.
Yeah, we've been keeping up with what other states are doing and everything. We're fortunate to be open, but everybody has a different set of cards that they're dealt. And the thing with us in Georgia is our governor, actually, he's an old family friend, but he was fortunate enough to try and get things open back up soon, and he did. And we're limited in capacity, and I understand that. But the county that I'm in, Clark County, they always want to do something a little more strict than what the state does. They always, even when the smoking law was passed, they made it even stronger. They don't have. I don't know. they have no love for the business community in Athens, Georgia.
Right,
And it's
right.
very obvious to everybody that lives here, but that's a whole nother story for another day.
Right.
Again, that's why they sued. That's why some of the bars sued.
Yeah.
Because they overstepped their boundaries of what the governor's order was. But I do know, obviously been keeping up with Florida with, I think they just had an event this past weekend, but unfortunately I think there was rain. But I think Hootie Hootie was playing.
Yeah.
Magic Mike was playing.
Yeah, the tailbreak rave.
Yeah, the tailbreak thing.
Yep.
I don't know how the turnout was, but I think Thomas was the.
Yeah. Yeah, that was his.
Behind.
Yeah, it looked okay. I watched the stream. You couldn't really see the crowd that good just because the camera was on the stage, but it looked cool. Stream was good. Everything, sound was good.
Coming from someone that's thrown parties and had skin in the game. I don't care if I hate the artist or hate whoever. I don't want anybody to have a bad turnout.
Dude, I know. Putting on a party, man, is like it is so
goodness.
Stressful.
Yeah.
And then if it bombs, it's like, oh my god. It's like what you were saying earlier about how you lost money, don't make any money. Like I've thrown hundreds of parties, probably made money on one. So how is it being basically a professional DJ and you're a bar owner when you're booking DJs?
Well, no, I don't book DJs.
So have you booked DJs in the past with like your other bars?
Oh yeah, well back when I had Bone Shakers, that's when we started bringing in the Florida DJs.
Okay, but not recently. You haven't done anything recently.
When I owned it, we didn't book that many DJs then. It was before that. But when I was just working there as a DJ, that we would bring in other DJs for our Tuesday night rave night.
Okay.
Or underground night or whatever.
Right.
But now no, we don't do like guest DJs. And I'll tell you the funniest thing in the world is Hootie Hootie has started working in Athens. And I walked into a nightclub and I look up and I'm like, what the hell is Dan doing here?
I forgot he lives in Georgia.
Yeah, he's up in the Atlanta area now and engaged, and Ashley comes with him, and they're the best. But now he works at the bar that's right next to mine, or it's a nightclub that's next to mine, and mine's just not the kind of place you do guest DJs. Hell, I can't afford it.
Yeah, right, right. I was just curious about the interaction of because a lot of bar owners are not DJs, but they're booking DJs. So I was curious how it would be if you're a real DJ and you're booking DJs, like how that kind of interaction would be. I
will say this: when we book DJs, back when we were throwing our parties, the DJs we booked, if you ask them back then, ask them how they were treated, and they will tell you that they were probably treated as well with us than they were anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because some of us, I'd already played some places and whatever, but if you don't have, if the talent's not happy, you're not going to have a good show.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm like that with the guys I have on the stream. I'm like, you need a beer? Like, what's going on? You cold? Is the air conditioning good? Like, all that stuff. Well, if you see Dan, tell him I said what's up. I hit him up to come on the stream, but he didn't respond. So they don't know who I am. So it's like I hit people up randomly, and some people respond, some people don't. I did see that him and Ashley they're actually down in Melbourne right now visiting Rob. Okay.
Ashley and Rob are the best of friends.
Okay.
That's very. I hope Rob pulls through. Yeah. That's unfortunate. He's a good dude. Yeah. He's a good dude. I didn't get to meet him yet. I talked to him on the phone. Super cool guy. We talked about a lot of cool stuff, heard some cool stories, and then he was supposed to come down here. And actually, we were going to do this in person on Saturday. Yeah. And then this happened. And it's like, man, but he's got to. Ashley told me about it when I saw her about a week ago or whatever. And it's just, and I saw a post online, and it's just, I hope everything's okay. That the Florida communities have had its share of tragedies, and we don't need any more. Yeah. And when I say the Florida, the breaks community. Right. I know, man. It's like every year, every 6 months, dude, somebody's gone. It's crazy. It's hard. But there again, everybody's getting older. I mean, none of us are 22 anymore. Right. No matter, it's life. Yeah. So what's the name of your 90s bar right now? 9D apostrophe S. The number 9, the letter D, and it's apostrophe S. Is it by the college? It's right in the middle of downtown Athens, right next to the University of Georgia. Okay. It's we got a Facebook page. I don't know how many pictures are on there, but we have I left my 80s bar page up too. It's 8E apostrophe S. And that bar, you don't have that bar anymore? We closed it in 2014. I needed a bigger space. And the rent was going up and bills were getting high, and it just wasn't working anymore. Okay, yeah, here it is, 90s bar. Yep, I see it right here, Clayton Street, Suite B. I'll have to check it out. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, bar owners, dude, it's like some of them, man. Like I just can't believe that you're in business.
They are just like, they are so shady, dude. Like, just, they're scoundrels. And then you got other ones that are super cool, you know.
Tell you what, I wish I were a lot meaner. I wish I were more firm about some things. I've given people some breaks when I shouldn't have, and I've gotten burned quite a few times.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't care what kind of business you're running. You know, your employees come first, whether it's a bartender, a door guy, or a DJ. And as long as you treat them with the best you can, you know, you just trying to have faith in who you hire.
Yeah. How long?
Screwing people just does not go well with me.
Right. I've had bar owners like hide cash from the door and all this shit, like crazy stuff. So how long have you had this bar? The 90s.
We opened the Wednesday before Thanksgiving of 2010. So we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
So
is that the only bar that you own right now?
Yeah, okay. That's the only business. I sold my golf course back in January. I ended up buying a country club back in 2015, which ended up working out okay. But I'm out of that now, and I'm back to just. This is the first time in probably 15 to 20 years that I've only had one business, and it sure does feel nice. Except COVID.
Right.
Except the COVID shutdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a ride, and I enjoy it. I still like to get in the booth. Unfortunately, my DJs, I'll piss them off sometimes. I'll come up there like, "Hey man, can I play a couple of songs?"
Yeah.
And, of course, I end up running the crowd out or whatever. And my manager's like, "What the hell are you doing? You're losing the crowd." I'm like, "Shut up, man.
This is my bar."
Not really. I got a great manager. I got a great staff, but no. I was actually doing some 80s nights at the 40 Watt Club, which is the world famous 40 Watt in Athens, Georgia. It's just things are different now. COVID's taking a hold, and it's we're just waiting to see what's going to happen. I hope they come up with some kind of vaccine that at least is 40 to 50% effective. So.
Well, yeah. What's up with the college up there? So are they doing in-person classes too, or just
right now? I think they are.
Okay. Wow.
The university flipped. They were having. They were not going to mandate masks, but now they have mandated masks, I believe, on campus.
Okay.
And I just saw today the University of Alabama is having some real problems. But I'm hoping the University of Georgia does not. The city has cracked down real hard and making sure we're sticking to our capacities and the mask law and whatever else. But it's very real. I've known about 10, 15 people that have had it. I've been fortunate enough to only know one person, my manager. I'll just say it's a family member of a very close friend that they lost, unfortunately, with complications from COVID. But both my parents are here. They're in the older age range, and so they're being real careful, and I'm trying my best to look after them. But with the university here, in August, there's 30-something thousand kids that come back to town.
Right.
That. They're coming from all over the world.
Right.
They're coming from all over the nation, and you never know what's going to happen when they do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in a high exposure environment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
So do you guys have to do temperature checks and things like that for people that come into the bar?
The government, the Georgia state government, they gave us a guideline of 39 things we're supposed to do between cleaning and protocols and things like that. One of them is not checking temperatures, but we still check temperatures.
Okay, that's cool.
And we have sanitation stations and whatnot, but... we do everything we're required to do and try and just hope for the best. I think it makes people feel a little more comfortable that when they walk up, that we are checking temperatures. If that makes somebody feel better about coming into my establishment to spend some money, we're good. I appreciate it.
Right.
So
well, that's cool, man. I'm glad that you guys are able to be open. There's down here, bars are going out of business left and right.
Yeah,
so.
And the funny thing is, by no means funny, but I just don't get this whole. I know it's a timeline, or not a timeline, but it's a progression of you've got the tenant, you've got the landlord. Then if if the landlord owns it outright, great, fine. But maybe there's a bank involved. Well, if the landlord will give the tenant a break, and then the bank will get with their board of directors and say, look, we don't want to foreclose on this property. Can we? Let them pay down whatever and then pass it on down to the tenant. Why do you want to be kicking tenants out when you can't get another one in there and pay the money to file for foreclosure and take it back and then maybe sell it for 20 cents on the dollar, because whoever you sell it to ain't going to get a tenant either.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I just don't understand right now, that there hasn't been more for helpful and forgiveness with the landlords and on down and from the banks on down.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a crazy situation. It's complicated. So what's up for the future with you, man? Like, what do you got any plans to like put out music or anything like that, or like what's going on with you on the music
There's
front?
not a day that goes by that I don't have ideas about songs. The motivation is getting a little harder. I've got so many good ideas, well, that I think are good ideas. I'll always regret when I moved to Orlando, when I moved to Florida the second time and moving to Orlando, that I didn't live closer to Dave, because that's kind of the reason I moved. And he and I wanted to work together, but we never really did, because we ended up living about 40 minutes apart.
Okay.
I lived over on the university side, and he lived up in Ocoee. But I've got so many ideas; it's just a matter of getting them down. And now, I'm not saying music's just different. If I put out something, it's not going to be. It may not be like a dance floor filler or whatever. It may just be something I came up with. I mean, there's some songs on my SoundCloud page that they're remixes of stuff I've done, that never got put out or whatever. We did remix for TLC. I did one for Vicky Winans, for Bubba Sparks.
Like official remixes, or those were just your bootleg remixes?
No, they sent the vocals and everything.
Really?
And
on your
that was
SoundCloud,
stuff I did
nice.
with Darcy and another guy named Robin Blanchard. There's some, there's a lot of good ideas behind it. The bad thing is the outcome, not knowing everything you're doing and being stubborn about, doing it our way and not, tracking it the right way, EQing this, it just didn't sound right. So they're going to take, there's who's to say what, why, where, but now I've learned a lot more about myself and patience. And like, if I'm going to do something, all right, if I'm going to do a track, do it the right way, get it mastered the right way, and just put it out. If people don't buy it, fine, but I did my best.
Yeah.
And if it's even if it's there's some other stuff I'd like a remix of some old tracks maybe, but I've been asked about doing remix, like a new set of remixes for How the Bass Kicks, because they're it's been 21 years now, 22 years or whatever, and we never really had like, I don't know, but there's some stuff. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Right. And I still enjoy DJing. I just don't do it a whole lot more.
Yeah.
I really love it, but it's.
You have a set of turntables?
30+ years, sir.
You got turntables?
Yeah, I got 4.
Okay.
I think I've got 4. I got 4 turntables. I think I got 4 CDJ 1000s, like the original ones.
Yeah.
I'm a pack rat of that kind of stuff. But no, I got my turntables set up over in the studio, and
nice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, just so you know, man, I mean, like, since this whole COVID thing has happened, there's been sort of like an online, I don't know if I would call it a revival in breaks, but now that there's, everybody's been stuck at home, like the whole live streaming thing, like breaks are all over the live streams, like it's like you can listen to pretty much anybody that you want almost doing a live stream, playing all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm up here twice a week live streaming, and then we bring like guests on and stuff. So it's I mean, even if you wanted to do a live stream or something like that, like there's an audience for it now. So even making new tracks, like there's kind of like been a I guess maybe a refocusing. That could be a good way to put it, like a refocusing of like breaks a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's one thing I noticed going to the parties, and maybe it's just that the parties I was at, is basically the main things that people were digging was anything that had old samples of old break songs in it.
Oh yeah,
just rework for the new, and I understand that, but I still get some promos from some folks here and there, and there's some good music out there. It's just my personal motivation. I got so much other stuff going on personally with personal life, family, and the business. It's
time problem.
Well, to sit down and clear your head to say, okay, let's put this down and do it. It's you
nailed it though on the head. That something that you just said, we talk about it on here regularly, is just how do you get new people in the scene? And one of the ways you don't do that is by making the music sound like it did 20 years ago. You know, using the same samples and stuff like that. Like that party you went to, that devotion party, that was probably like there probably wasn't really many new people there, right? It was mostly old heads and people. Exactly. So that was kind of like one of the problems that we're having right now.
That was a topic on a Facebook post I put a year or two ago. Like, how is the break scene drawing new people in? And luckily, I heard the EDC Carnival, the thing they had there did really well. But these kids, they're going for that, commercial trance, commercial
Right.
house,
Yep.
what do they call
Festival
it?
music,
Business
festival
techno.
trap.
I think they call it business techno.
Business
or whatever.
techno. I like that. I
Yeah.
haven't heard that before.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
actually it's almost as bad as the EDM,
Right.
which I hate. But
So what's your thought about that? About getting new people into the scene, especially you're a bar owner, so you have a good insight into this because you're getting college kids in there, and they're coming for the nostalgic aspect of it.
Yeah,
But
they haven't had a good quote underground night here in Athens for a while. Some guys that have definitely tried to put forth great effort, and there's great music and everything, but these kids, they want to go to the festival. They want to.
Right.
That's what they want. They couldn't tell you 12 tracks, but they know who Marshmello is.
right, Bass
They know
Nectar.
who Tiesto is.
Yeah.
But they couldn't tell you 5 Tiesto tracks. They
Yeah.
couldn't tell you 2. You don't have to be a producer, but it's the same thing that has made it great has also killed it.
Right.
It's you take the good with the bad and the bad with the good, but the over commercialization, and when I appreciate all the festivals and bringing the music to everybody, but there's still nothing better. And I'll say this: things started dying when they started putting the DJ on stage. There was nothing better than going to a dark club. You knew who was there. You knew they were up in the booth. And really, the only time you ever saw him was when maybe he turned a certain way and a light caught him.
Right.
But just the vibe. Nobody was looking at the DJ. When everybody started paying attention to the DJ, is when things went to shit.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a
all
whole
about the music.
Yep, there was a whole commercialization. Like they tried to buy up all the well, they did buy up all the festival companies that were producing them and tried to put them under one big corporation.
Yep.
It was called SX something, and I can't remember who it is, and it ended up going bankrupt.
Yeah.
He tried to pull everybody in and just make it a huge industry, business wise, and it was terrible for everything.
I remember I think it was the first Ultra. We were there, and we didn't go inside the gate. We were out on the beach, but we didn't need to go in the gate. We didn't need to go into the fence. And
Yeah.
I remember Paul Van Dyke playing, and he was playing this track that I'd already had, I'd had and whatever. I was like, dude, I got that track. And I was like, wait, man, this breakdown. But then the place just lights up.
Yeah.
But that's what it was, just basically one big stage out on the beach.
Yeah.
And obviously everybody saw what happened with Ultra. That's fine and dandy, but again, the same things that can make things great can make things really shitty.
Yeah, Ultra's out of control, man. I haven't been in probably 10 years, and last time I went, they only had a crowd of 50,000 people, and now their crowds are 150,000 people, and it's 3 days.
Yeah, and actually, Scott just put on here, when it became about the superstar DJ. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's when they started putting the DJ in the middle of the stage and making it about the DJ instead of about the music. And as long as the DJ's, playing the right music, that's fine. But when it becomes just about them when you've got to stand there with your arms up and your hands out and you're making poses and and getting on the mic,
right.
It's just, dude, let the music do the talking. Great music will always, always win. Great music will always win.
Yeah. Yeah, the music speaks for itself. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. And then that turned into the whole DJ industry of everybody wants to be a DJ. And then that diluted it even further.
Yeah, well, and again, you talk about the Ableton and whatever else. You've got your DJ in a box stuff that everybody can go get a controller, download the software, and go play a party that night because they know how to press start and stop and whatever. Yeah. And next thing you know, they're a DJ. Okay, fine, that's fine, but you're not. That's about as far as you're going to get.
Yeah.
But I just, I'm not going to say anything about money, but when you're looking at guys making $50 million a year, okay, I'm not going to say did they earn it, because technically they earned it, but there's no. Danny Tenaglia is basically my baseline as the DJ's DJ, and integrity wise, whatever, it just there's just something about him that I don't know, just. To him, doesn't seem to be about the money or anything. But look back when all the money really started pouring in. You started hearing about the DJs. I guess what's his nuts?
Like Calvin Harris and Deadmau5.
Deadmau5, yeah, Calvin Harris.
Getting paid $300,000 to play one night in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and they fly him in on a jet, pull him in on a helicopter, and then he flies somewhere else. And I remember, I don't know if you remember this, when Carl Cox played two New Year's Eves. And got to play two drops because they put them on the Concorde. No, it was either Cox or Openfold.
No, that was
which one.
Phil Collins.
No, a DJ did it too.
Okay.
They played in London or whatever, and they put him on the Concorde.
Yeah.
And he flew to New York or somewhere and played. But that was way back when. But that was just, there's no telling. He probably got 10, 15 grand. And I remember what we paid the DJs, but the big ones back then. And we got Derek May and Kevin Saunderson for $5,000 together.
Right.
And now $5 doesn't even get you the cost of what's on the rider.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. So yeah, if you start making music, man, start making some new music. Make some music that sounds like new music that people want to hear. So that
whatever I make's just going to be whatever comes out of my head and through my fingers. And if they like it, great. If not, it's no big deal.
You could test it out. You could test it out on your young patrons.
Oh no, God, no. Those guys, they some of the people I've talked to, oh man, you run a '90s bar, I want to come play. I was like, no. We're not playing Sandstorm, like
right.
We're not playing Candy Trance all night. No, this is like genuinely top 40.
Right,
like, Pony,
MTV
R.
stuff.
Kelly. I mean, it's the top 40. But that's what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the capacity at your bar? If it was open normally, like what's your capacity?
240 people.
Okay. How many people have you fit in that bitch?
239 people.
Okay.
There was a night a few years ago that I think we probably had about 315 in there.
Yeah.
And then I got back to the bar and said, "Look, this you can get these. This is
out of
and the
control.
fire marshals are pretty strict in Athens.
Yeah.
But luckily, knock on wood, we didn't get a ticket that night.
Yeah.
But we try and it's what happened up at the Great White concert when the doors were locked and all those people died. Nightclub industry changed after that and after the Chicago fire. The entire nightclub industry changed. All the insurance regulations changed, and it's a much more strict things. Insurance will drop you in a heartbeat now. There's a lot of insurance bars and nightclubs that got dropped immediately after the Chicago fire. Because that was the second one. The Great White Show up in the Northeast was the first one and then the Chicago fire. A lot of the insurance companies just flat out dropped nightclubs.
Is the Great White Show the one where that floor collapsed, where the second story collapsed on those people?
No, the Great White one's where they had the exits locked and the stage caught on fire from the pyrotechnics.
Oh shit!
And they had them chained from the outside so people couldn't sneak in.
Oh,
and they had people literally laying in the doorways and people crawling over them, people dying. It was bad.
Holy shit!
It was we have a fire safety meeting every year with the county with all the bar owners and go through that stuff. But it's there's great sides to the industry, but there is the business side, and there's some folks that are in it for for the fun. And when I first got into it, it was fun. But now, I needed to make a living.
Yeah.
And you can't make a living if you don't serve, and they'll take your liquor license.
Yeah, you gotta follow the rules. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, dude, we've been going for almost an hour and 45, so we have done good. Goes by fast, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
No, this has been a lot of fun. Good trip down memory lane. I really appreciate what you've done with this thing, and I know we just kind of met on a whim with the Dave London interview, but I haven't really been much a part of the scene. After moving away, as soon as I moved back, I ended up getting into the nightclub business, which took away from the production, and so I miss it. But there again, it's things happen.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate what you've done with this thing, and all the DJs out there. I appreciate you guys playing the records, even still. Sometimes I appreciate all the folks listening to them. Good dance music is timeless.
Yeah, dude, you got some classics, dude. You got some classics.
There's always going to be dance music.
Yeah,
always going to be dance music.
Yeah, for sure.
And I miss playing. I miss those nights of setting in for about 4 hours and knowing when you need to play this kind of, this song and this song, you got to spread out your hits throughout the night instead of just playing an hour of bangers.
Right.
That's easy.
You're right. Anybody can do that. Anybody can play the peak hour set.
An hour of bangers.
Yep. That's it. That's different. I personally like opening. That's the hardest job. That's my favorite thing to do is open the night.
I will agree with that.
Yeah, get the people going.
I will agree with that because you can plan whatever you want, and that's probably another downfall of folks. But it don't mean shit till you stand up there and realize, wait a minute, that's not what I need.
I know, dude. I've done that many times. Plan a set, thought this was gonna go great, and as soon as I played the first song, I'm like, this was not the right choice.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll just go through. So don't hang up once we once we end the Facebook stream. We'll talk for a minute. But I just let everybody know the people who weren't in here before, just to give you guys some updates what's going on. So this is actually going to be our last stream for at least a month. So awesome way to wrap this up with DJ43. We're taking a break. I got to do a bunch of upgrades. Scott, if you're down to help, I could use you. That'd be awesome. I need to do some graphics upgrades, get a new logo, stuff like that. And then, we got questions. If anybody's got questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. You know, go for it. How did DJ43 compose Tracing Circles?
That song had probably 10, 15 different reincarnations. And I finally had to stick with just one to put on the record. And then the live mix was something I did when me and Dave were going to do a live show. I just thought it had the potential to be, I was just messing around in the studio. Pepper Spray actually started out as a joke. And it ended up being good. And Tracing Circles, I thought was going to do really well, but it didn't. But I just had a melody in my head and just wanted to put it down, and that's what came out.
I don't know that song. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Okay, it's the inside track on the what's it called? The Wanted LP.
Okay.
But it's on YouTube, and again, guys, I do have a SoundCloud page. It's under, I think, Mark Bell DJ43, all one word, or Mark Bell / DJ43. I can't remember. But I also have a Facebook page under Mark Bell / DJ43 that I'll have a lot of these links up.
Okay. You got an Instagram page?
What the hell's Instagram?
All right, no, that's cool. That's cool.
Insta, Twitter.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, and Mixcloud. You're good. You covered the bases.
And this guy asked what was the gear. A lot of that was made on a JV 2080, a Roland JV 2080, and then the drums were sampled and used an Akai S2000 sampler.
Cool.
So
what we got going on, when we come back in October, we were supposed to have Keith McKenzie on. We had some logistical problems, so we're going to have to work on that. But he's definitely coming back. That has happened 100%, but probably not till October. I'm talking to some other pretty big names. We're trying to get some dates nailed down. And then, we're going to come back with new graphics, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be chilling here for like the next month. And then Chris Marchese, I mean, dude, that would be awesome. That's disco synthetic, right?
I just saw him. I think I saw him at disco I saw him at the Devotion Party.
Okay.
I hadn't seen him since I moved from Orlando.
Yeah.
But I picked him right. I was like, "You're Chris, aren't you?"
Yeah. No, that would be awesome. Disco I think that's how you say it. I don't know, but yeah, no, I would. Anybody, man. Like for me, like I'm super fan. This is like great stuff for me because I grew up listening to this stuff. Never got to talk to anybody because I was younger. So I never got to go to a lot of the parties because I was like 15, 16, and then my mom wouldn't let me go to like Barcode and shit like that where they were having all these people come. So now it's like, now I'm 36. I get to like, talk to all these people, which is super cool for me because I absolutely love this music. So yeah, Rob, hook it up, man. Make that happen. I would love to have him on. I'm a big fan of his stuff. So that would be cool. And anybody else, if you guys have the connections, like I said, I hit people up, but they don't know who I am. So it's like, they're like, oh, what is this? We don't know what's going on. But if you guys haven't checked out the YouTube, this will be on YouTube soon. We got all the other interviews that we had on there. We had Infinity, we had Bahamut, Storm, Dave London, a couple other people on there, and then we got all the mixes on there. So, Mark, if you ever feel like doing a live stream one time, man, playing some records or whatever, I mean, we can pipe it through the Mix Days page. Seriously, that could happen.
I'll definitely keep that in mind. I have to dust off I have to get the dust out of my ears first.
You got a good enough camera, dude, right now. I mean, I can tell you the camera they have, this is perfect. So we could definitely make this happen.
That high-tech iMac.
Yeah, the iMac. iMac got a good camera. Yeah, so no, we could definitely do it, man. It's not that difficult. So, all right, man. So we'll wrap it up. And everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, this is going to be our last show for a little bit, but you'll hear from us. We're still going to be putting out content, things like that. And Mark, dude, really appreciate it, man. It was great talking to you. I love hearing all the stories.
I enjoyed
and stuff.
the heck out of it. Appreciate it.
I'm
so
glad.
Much.
And then
Thanks for having me.
we're definitely going to do it again in the future.
Anytime.
Cool,
Anytime.
man. Awesome. So you guys, thanks for tuning in. We're going to close it down. And Mark, don't go anywhere. We will wrap this up. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.